So how can an 8-minute drive change your net worth by 6 figures? After buying my first place in Healdsburg over a decade ago, I've seen how picking the wrong town can haunt you for years. So today, I'm showing you the Healdsburg versus Windsor breakdown that nobody else is giving you. And by the end of this, you'll know exactly which one actually fits your life. So when I think about these two towns, this always comes to mind. Even though they're so close, the atmosphere couldn't be more different. Both towns sit right off Highway 101, about 70 miles north of San Francisco. And if you're heading into the city, it's about an hour from Windsor and roughly 10 minutes longer from Healdsburg. So close enough that you can get to San Francisco without it being too much trouble, but also far enough that when you get home at the end of the day, you really do feel that shift. Healdsburg zip code 95448 covers about 184 square miles, so a huge area that includes Alexander Valley, the Russian River, and Dry Creek Valley. The overall feel here is pretty clear. It's vineyards in pretty much in every direction. And the historic plaza is right in the center of it all. That's definitely the center of the community. From the moment you arrive, you can feel that sense of prestige, if you like. Now, Windsor is organized in a very different way. Highway 101 runs right through the middle of the town. You've got the town green and the downtown area sit on the west side of the freeway, while most of the big retail centres are on the east side. And both have a really nice little layout. And the layout is really built around the people who live and work here every day, not just visitors coming up for wine country weekend. The truth is that the distance between these two towns creates something interesting in the market. And in a minute, I'll show you how that proximity can open up one of the smarter buying opportunities in this area, so please do stick around. But first, it helps to understand what daily life is like in each place and what it actually feels like. But before we get into that, if you're watching this video because you're thinking about moving to either Healdsburg or Windsor or elsewhere in Sonoma County, then I'll be able to help you. The right choice usually comes down to details that a YouTube video can only cover up to a point. If you want to talk through which town fits your lifestyle, fits your budget and your timing, you'll find my contact information in the description below. So now let's keep going. So let's talk about the lifestyle and the community character. I mean, I like using this analogy because it tends to click pretty quickly for people. Healdsburg is like a fine aged Cabernet Sauvignon. Windsor's more like a crisp Chardonnay. Both are excellent, just built for completely different moods. Both towns centre a lot of their events around the main squares, but the character of those events tells you quite a lot. In Healdsburg, the plaza tends to draw a wine-focused gathering, gallery walks that brings visitors from all over the place. In Windsor, the town green is much more family-orientated, with farmers markets, outdoor movie nights, and holiday celebrations where you'll recognise the same neighbours you saw at the grocery store that morning. And that's also true in Healdsburg, to be fair. And Russian River Brewing is headquartered right in Windsor. I mean, if you're into craft beer at all, you'll already know what that means. I'm sure you've heard of Pliny the Younger release, which is one of the most anticipated beer events in the country. And it runs from late March into April at the Windsor facility. So that kind of event builds a real connection with the neighbourhood. People like feeling local. There's a real sense of community pride. In Healdsburg, the vibe is a little different, less family orientated. Obviously, the demographic of Healdsburg is that much older. I mean, what tells you a lot about Healdsburg is if you walk past there on a Tuesday lunchtime prior to the Tuesday event in the evening, you've got people who are literally sitting in their deck chairs all afternoon to reserve their spot for the evening. So there's a lot of retired people who have clearly got time on their hands. There's also a notable concentration of second homes in Healdsburg, and that alone changes the overall energy in ways that are worth understanding. On a quiet weekday during the off-season, the town can feel a little bit more subdued than some people expect. I mean, personally, I quite like the off-season. For certain buyers, that is exactly the appeal. For others, having a neighbourhood that feels active and lived in every single day is really important. So bear that in mind as we keep going through this. Later on, we'll go a bit deeper into who Windsor tends to work best for. And that's where you'll start to see why so many long-term owners end up staying put and staying for years, so stay with me. So both towns make sense, just for different people. Now let's talk about what daily life actually looks like once you're living here. So let's talk about amenities first. Well, Healdsburg is one of the best run cities in Sonoma County. And that's not marketing language. You can see it in the infrastructure, the public spaces, and the way the city programs community events. Spend a little time there and you start to feel that level of intention pretty quickly. Now, when it comes to groceries, Healdsburg keeps things simple. You've got Big John's Market, which is a well-known local favourite, and Safeway. It covers the basics, but the selection's a bit smaller. Windsor gives you a little more range. You've got Oliver's Market, which, to be honest, I will actually drive to from Healdsburg because I prefer that as a market, but that's a whole other story, particularly when it comes down to the fresh produce. And then you also have a Safeway, and you've got a grocery outlet, and you start seeing real options in Windsor that potentially you don't see in Healdsburg. And then Windsor's also got Walmart and Home Depot right there. And honestly, that's a pretty important factor when choosing a place to live, even though people don't always think about it. And the good thing about both places, particularly Windsor, is you can get down to Santa Rosa super quickly to get the big box stores, whether it's Costco, whether it's Best Buy, and all those sorts of stores. Dining is really where the difference starts to show. Healdsburg has got multiple Michelin-starred restaurants, and obviously Single Thread is top of that list. And I'd even say that Single Thread actually elevated Sonoma County's food reputation, let alone just Healdsburg's. The overall food scene in Healdsburg is genuinely one of the strongest in Northern California. Windsor's dining is definitely more casual and genuinely good in its own way. These are the kinds of places where you become a regular and the staff knows your order. It's a different category entirely. For the right person, that's actually part of the appeal. For movies, Healdsburg recently opened the True West Cinema. It's an over 100-seat luxury indie theatre divided into 3 different screens. Whereas Windsor residents, they typically head to Airport Stadium 12, which technically sits across the Santa Rosa border, but it's so close to Windsor it feels like it is in Windsor. You've got 12 screens, laser projection, and for most people, that does more than the job. And both are great locations, just a very different feel. And then there's the Santa Rosa proximity piece, which becomes surprisingly practical over time. From Windsor, you can get there in under 10 minutes by car. From Healdsburg, it's probably more like 20 minutes. When you start looking at what your money actually buys across these 2 markets, the real estate picture tells a story that catches a lot of buyers off guard. All right, so here's the thing. The numbers lay it out in a pretty simple way. Looking at Redfin and Zillow data from early 2026, Healdsburg median sale price sits well above the $1 million mark, with strong year-over-year appreciation. Entry-level homes usually start around the mid-700s. From there, the range climbs into the high 2s, 3s, 4s, and well beyond for true wine country estates. The Alexander Valley, Russian River Valley, and Dry Creek Valley all sit within the 95448 zip code, which means you can access genuine estate-level wine country properties without technically leaving the area of Healdsburg, although clearly those are outside the city of Healdsburg. Healdsburg also offers something Windsor can't recreate: historic homes with real history in the walls, older properties, original farmhouses, and architecture reflect that what this area looked like well before the wine industry took off. Both towns also offer 55+ communities, which can matter for buyers thinking about multi-generational living or just getting older. Now in Windsor, the math looks quite different. Entry-level condos usually start in the low 400s. Family homes tend to move through the low to high 700s. Then you've got the gated communities of Lakewood and Oak Hill, which really don't have an equivalent in Healdsburg. So Lakewood typically lands in the 1 millions and Oak Hill is definitely higher than that. I mean, Windsor was built with families in mind. You know, the lot sizes, the neighborhood layout, and proximity to parks and retail all reflect a town designed for people planning to stay. The west side of the town opens up into more rural properties with real wine country adjacency. On the east side, you start feeding into Chalk Hill, and Chalk Hill Road is one of the most overlooked micro-markets in this area. The south end is actually in Windsor, the north end is technically in Healdsburg. So somewhere in the middle, you're almost perfectly positioned between the 2 town centres. Most buyers never even think about that. And there's another opportunity people usually overlook in this market. The Star Road corridor in Windsor puts you about 10 minutes from Healdsburg Plaza, and you're getting Windsor pricing with real Healdsburg access. Now, taxes are always important when you start looking seriously. Healdsburg currently carries a sales tax of around 9.75%, Windsor sits at 9.25%, although for property taxes, new buyers in both towns typically land in the 1.15, 1.3 range. But that's due to local bonds layered on top of the Prop 13 base. It's definitely something to factor into your monthly numbers before you get too attached to a purchase price. So with the numbers laid out, there's one question the data alone can't answer. Which one of these towns actually fits the way you want to live? Who should choose Healdsburg? Well, the address alone carries weight for sure, and in Healdsburg that address comes with real value, and at a real price I should say. The Healdsburg zip code has got certain cachet. It signals wine country prestige and reputation holds because of everything around it. You wake up and you really do feel like you're living in the middle of wine country. For a lot of people, you can walk into town, or certainly very easily get into town, because the city of Healdsburg is only 7 square miles. And you also be living in a city that's been investing in itself for decades, and that's the lifestyle that people come here for. For better or for worse, second home buyers land here all the time, and there's a reason for that. If the price point works for you, or if you're splitting your time between Healdsburg and somewhere else, the investment case tends to be pretty strong. And there's something deeper here that's worth mentioning. Healdsburg still has multi-generational families who've been here since the days when it was a prune farming town. That was long before the wine industry arrived, and long before Michelin stars showed up. That kind of history gives the community a real personality. You hear the name and the image comes to mind right away. And if the tourist energy doesn't bother you, or if you actually enjoy living somewhere people aspire to visit, that works really well here. The plaza stays lively, the restaurants stay full, and the town keeps an energy that a lot of full-time residents genuinely enjoy. So who should choose Windsor? Well, daily life in Windsor tends to look like this. Kids go to good local schools, you've got neighbours who've been on the same street for 5, 10 years. The town green hosts the community itself. And the price point still leaves room to build real wealth over time. Now, if you live and work in Sonoma County, you start to notice something. Windsor's where many of the people who actually run this county choose to live. That, along with Santa Rosa. It was built for the families. The infrastructure, the events, the retail, even the 55+ options for aging parents. All of it reflects a town designed for the long term. And remember the Santa Rosa proximity we talked about earlier. Being less than 10 minutes from Santa Rosa means the things you need are right there. You're not constantly planning your day around a slightly longer drive. Plus, the right pocket of Windsor really does feel like rural and wine country living. Some homes put you almost as close to Healdsburg Plaza as parts of Windsor's own downtown. Windsor also makes sense for people who've spent time in Healdsburg on a busy summer weekend and thought, I love this area, but I don't want to deal with the tourist traffic every day. But I don't want to live somewhere where there are so many tourists. You still get the same regional beauty, the same Sonoma County pace, just without the constant foot traffic. So choosing between these two towns really comes down to the life that you want to build. Once that part is clear, the address tends to follow. And if you're leaning towards Healdsburg rather than Windsor, then I've linked a full breakdown of the pros and cons of living here in 2026. It's linked right below, so feel free to watch that one next.